Chapter 9. Emperor in Chains. The following morning, one of Alp Arslan's commanders rushed to him excitedly. "O Sultan, one of my ghulams has taken the Byzantine king as prisoner." At first, Alp Arslan was skeptical. Romanus was last seen fighting valiantly alongside his courageous guardsmen. But Alp Arslan decided to send a ghulam who had seen Romanus before to verify news. The ghulam returned not long after with an expressive face and an excited voice. "It is he, the emperor!" The puny ghulam dragged the emperor, his hands tied, to the sultan's camp. The captive Byzantines who witnessed the spectacle sunk their foreheads into the dirt in despair. Others sank to their knees, and many sobbed in humiliation. It was an enormous blow to Byzantine prestige. For as they saw it, the great imperial army had been defeated by barbarians and savages. To see their helpless leader in the clutches of the enemy was too much to bear. Alp Arslan, watching alongside his hunting dog and his falcon as Romanus, dressed as a shabby commoner, was dragged before him. Ibn Mohalaban nodded to the Sultan, recognizing the captive as Romanus. Immediately, Romanus was grabbed by his hair and chest and hurtled towards the dirt so that he may kiss it in respect of the Sultan. Romanus, however, resisted. He may be a captive, but he was after all still the emperor and still had the honor of acting as one. Just as one of his men was about to inflict a heavy blow on Romanus, the Sultan intervened, asking his ghulams to leave his captive alone. But that did not mean that there would be no customary indignities. Alp Arslan himself served some slaps and kicks between rebuking Romanus for not accepting his peace offer and for being tactically incompetent, to which the emperor replied, "I spent all my wealth raising this army, gathering great numbers. I had the upper hand, but victory is yours. So do as you like, and stop rebuking me." Alp Arslan then quizzed Romanus further. "What would you have done if you were in my position?" "I would have put you with the dogs, with a lead collar around your neck," replied Romanus defiantly. Alp Arslan laughed. "He has spoken truthfully, by Allah. If he had said otherwise, he would have been lying. This is an intelligent, strong man. It is not fitting that he should be killed." Alp Arslan then looked towards the puny ghulam. He was decorated with the robe of honor and given governorship of a town of his choice. News of the emperor's capture spread like wildfire in the Muslim camp. They thanked Allah and were grateful for a victory far beyond what they had hoped for and beyond what their capabilities alone would have allowed. They also celebrated the vast booty they captured, including some of the most precious gems in Byzantine possession. It was a great morale boost for the army, who felt now, with the help of Allah, they were capable of confronting the Byzantine juggernaut. Do not be afraid, O Emperor, but be hopeful, since you will encounter no bodily harm, but will be honored in a manner worthy of your preeminence and power. For foolish is he who is not cautious before the unexpected reversal of fortunes. Alp Arslan had, without a doubt, and by Romanus' own admission, treated the emperor more humanely and with more dignity than his opponent would have ever offered, had the tables been turned. Like the great Salahuddin, who was yet to come, the Muslims outperformed their Christian foes, not only in acts of war, but also in acts of chivalry. Romanus was sent to a royal tent where 100 guards kept watch over him. He was restrained by iron chains around his hands and neck. There were many reasons why keeping the emperor alive served the interests of the Muslims. If Romanus was to return alive, Byzantine rivalry for the position of emperor would surely intensify after such a loss. This would keep the Byzantines consumed in their own squabbles, rather than concentrating on a retaliatory attack on Alp Arslan. the Sultan's priority was always to tackle the threat of the Fatimids. He did not need further Byzantine distractions. However, he could certainly do with a large sum of gold to resource his expeditions. Alp Arslan demanded a king's ransom for the release of the Byzantine emperor. After intense negotiations, the Byzantines agreed to a number of conditions. In addition to paying a hefty annual tribute and 500,000 gold pieces, a number of Muslim prisoners would be released, and the cities of Manbij, Antioch, Edessa, and Manzikert would be handed over to the Muslims. Finally, Romanus was freed and allowed to return to Constantinople. Alp Arslan himself escorted him for a few miles into his journey before he left him in the care of 100 of his ghulams. A banner was held high proclaiming, "There is none worthy of worship except Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." Romanus was released in what is now known as Tokat. There he paid an installment of 200,000 dinars to the ghulams, who left him on his own from there on. Byzantium, however, was not in the midst of a civil war. A new emperor was installed in Constantinople. Romanus raised an army to attempt to reclaim his position, but was beaten severely. He was blinded and placed in a monastery without any medical attention, and died less than a year after the Battle of Manzikert. The Sunni world, on the other hand, celebrated the unexpected and monumental victory against the Byzantines. The Abbasid Caliph once again had to gratefully assign lengthy honorary titles to the Seljuk Sultan, just as his uncle Sultan Tugrul had earlier received. It seems that Allah's task for Alp Arslan was now complete, his life task accomplished. Not long after the Battle of Manzikert, the great Sultan was drawn towards Khorasan to deal with a rebellion. On the way there, he was assassinated. His son Malik Shah, along with the trustworthy Nizam ul Mulk, continued to lead the Seljuks.